All right. What's up, guys? Guy here from SeaTac, Seattle Airport. Niners, merciful ending to a painful season. The joy of losing, though. Got the 11 seed, 47 to 24. I was at the University of Washington today calling a great basketball game between Illinois and Washington. Illinois, get your brackets out. If you're a Niner fan, time to start thinking about your brackets. I'll tell you what, I love Illinois. That's not what this video is about, but season's over. 6-11. Bad year. I mean, just awful thing after awful thing after awful thing stacked up. It felt like in some ways, it felt like a 4-win season, but it was a 6-win season, which was great. I think last week against the Lions felt different to me in the sense that, like, the right thing to do from a standing standpoint and from a schedule for next year standpoint, the right thing to do was to lose to Detroit, right? But emotionally, that felt hard. Today, there was none of that. Today, losing to Arizona was the right thing to do, and emotionally felt like the right thing to do, except to Jauan Jennings, who did not feel the right offensive Dre Greenlaw. Jauan Jennings did not feel like the right thing to do to him, which, I think you come out of the year and it's too early to do things I like. Five things I like this year. 5 glass half full opinions. Like, no. But not that there was any doubt about who Jauan Jennings is, but Jauan Jennings is that guy. He is never, even in a 6-11 season, and we'll see what happens with his career. Does he play the whole, all of it with the 49ers? But when it's all said and done, even in a 6-11 season, nobody can ever say that Jauan Jennings is in a rush to do a 1-2-3 Cancun. I mean, that's impressive. And the great news for the Niners, they didn't mess around and win the game. They lost. They lost comfortably when it was all said and done, and they got the 11th pick in the draft. So that's good news for Dallas because they know the Niners aren't drafting Ashton Ginty. It's great news for the Niners, not just drafting ahead of Dallas, but drafting 2 spots ahead of Miami, who in theory are looking for similar type players. And if you're going to have a bad year, if you're going to suffer, you might as well at least have a solid draft pick. And, winning this game or losing this game on Sunday to the Cardinals was not going to change the level of suffering that you or I or they or anybody had to go through this year. The only thing that was going to make it worse was, drafting 16th or something instead of 11th. And that didn't happen, which was great news for the 49ers. 16th wasn't going to happen either, but you get the point. Get as good of a draft pick as you can get. Every spot is leverage. Every single spot in the draft is a little more leverage. Not that the Niners should be and will be going into this draft with the idea of trading up. They don't have the level of depth that would make you think like they should find a way to trade up. And at 11, you should be able to get a really good player. And we'll start draft conversations. But whether they need to get up a couple of spots from 11 to 9 is easier than 12 to 9. And if there's a couple guys you really like and you get a good offer because somebody else wants to move up and you want to go from 11 to 14, then you can go to 11-14 easier than you can go from 14 to 17 or something like that. Remember, last year the 49ers drafted in the first round a player that they knew was not a first-round pick in Ricky Pearsall. But they were drafting so late, and as everybody is in the draft, so obsessed with value that they were trying to trade out. They were drafting so late, there were no first-round picks left, level players left, and they tried to trade back, and they couldn't. So, if they're in a position this year, they're not going to have that problem if they're in a position where they can think about trading back or something like that. So that's great news. That is, honestly, it's the best news in a long time. I know I have not consumed an ounce of post-game reaction takes because I just haven't been able to. I watch the game on after my game, and I'm at the airport, and I scroll a couple things and look at the box score and talk to producer Connor and get his takes. And I knew going into the game that one of the big stories this week was going to be Kyle really screwed up by not letting Josh Dobbs be QB2 this year by not having Josh Dobbs start against the Packers. Ooh, I'm fired up. I figured that would be a take. And Josh Dobbs goes for a career high 326 yards, 29 of 43, couple of turnovers, couple of touchdowns, couple of interceptions, and the fumble, which was a bad fumble, which is part of the reason. Look, I am not here to tell you that Brandon Allen is clearly better than Josh Dobbs. I'm just here to tell you that this grand opinion that a lot of people have, that it's like somehow malpractice, that Josh Dobbs was QB3 and Brandon Allen was QB2, because look at Josh Dobbs run around at the end of the Lions game and score a touchdown. That's a crazy take. That's a crazy take. And I think with any backup quarterback, not just Josh Dobbs, and it applies to Brandon Allen, with any backup quarterback, which most of the guys in the league, are backup quarterbacks or backup level quarterbacks or starters who will one day be backup quarterbacks. With most of these guys, the more they play, the worse it is. And the more they have to play, in structure, the worse it is. Nothing better for a backup quarterback than coming into a game down like 23-7. I guess there are things better for a backup quarterback. You're getting pressured a lot in those situations. But my point is, it's just so easy to play free and easy in those spots. Nobody believes in you. You're coming off the pine. So I'm just planting my flag on. You're not going to get that here. This was proof. This was a preseason game. This is a preseason game. It's awesome for him. A strong finish. He is a backup quarterback. Here's why I will agree with people. He is more QB2 than he is QB3. I agree with that. And he'll be somebody else's QB2 next year. But do not use this game as some evidence of anything. They lost by 23 to the Cardinals, who also had nothing to play for. So, career high 326. Great. I mean, it's, you only get so many chances to play professional football, and it'll be a highlight for him. And he's had some great highlights. And if he were back as QB2 for the Niners, that'd be fine too. I'm pro Josh Dobbs' career. But you want to be critical of Kyle Shanahan? There was a long list of things that you can choose from this year. You want to, you want to plant your flag with Josh Dobbs? By all means, you can feel free to do it. I'm just telling you, you're not getting that here from me. That's all. Ricky 6 for 69. Isaac Guerrero, I'm recording this. I haven't seen what Kyle Shanahan, if anything, has said about Guerrero. Obviously, it didn't look great. But, I think one thing the 49ers really have to go into 2025 understanding is that, and, they would have, I think, probably had to understand it anyway. They now certainly understand it. They need another running back. And every guy they have looks, performs, runs the same way. Like Patrick Taylor comes in and runs hard. So, Josh Dobbs went for 326. Patrick Taylor ran for 109, over 6 yards a carry. Should he have been? You want to make some point about that too? I'm arguing with people who I just know that take's out there. I haven't even seen it yet, but I just know it's out there. But they need another running back. Behind Christian McCaffrey. First of all, you need Christian McCaffrey back healthy. But and you have to, and here's the other thing, you have to go into next season very aware that whoever your other running back is, that person could be RB1. So you have to look at it from that standpoint. And you can't rely on McCaffrey to play 17 games. You can't rely on Guerrero. We've seen it. It was I really like a lot of what I've seen out of Isaac Guerrero. But the knock he came in with was what doesn't stay healthy. Got banged up early, the hamstring issue. And it's been, unfortunately, an Elijah Mitchell, kind of cadence for Guerrero. Although unlike Mitchell, it feels like when Mitchell got hurt historically, he would not come back. And Guerrero does come back and then get hurt and then come back and get hurt. But, I think we've seen enough to say there's some promise there. There's some stuff you like. But he's not running back. He cannot be running back 2 next year, going into the year. If he's a guy that has an opportunity and surprises, great. I think one of the other things I'm thinking about coming out of the game, and this is not new information, but I think it has to be said. There are just some guys this year in a bad year that you look at and go, you know what? You are a cornerstone player. And George Kittle, who I know that for some it felt like he was trending towards his last year on the Niners. That's definitely not the case. But Fred Warner's another one. Fred Warner could have packed it in. Fred Warner got, nicked up again today. Fred Warner is just everything you'd want out of a cornerstone defensive player. They're going to need to get him some help. You can't go into next year with my guess is Drake Greenlaw's just back on a cheap contract. But maybe the Titans would give him that same contract. Maybe the Texans would give him that same contract. So who knows? But that's a priority position. Safeties, unfortunately, because they keep plugging guys in there, a secondary primary position in the sense that, like, as long as, you got Mustafa, but you're going to need another safety. Corner is going to be a priority, but Renardo Green's a good addition there. I think it feels like Mooney Ward's probably played his last game as a Niner, but we'll see. The other one, and if you listen to the show or watch the show, I'm personally a Juice guy. And he's been on the show, and we're big Juice fans here. And I think he had to take the pay cut, which nobody likes taking a pay cut, but he had to take the pay cut this year. And I know when he scored a touchdown against the Lions, I got a text from a buddy who was like, that was good. One for the road for Juice. And then he got another one today. And we'll see what's out there financially. I haven't talked to him about this, so this is not Juice's take. But he's got I think he's got a podcast now. Or no, he's got the clothing line. That's right. But which looks cool, as expected. No surprise that that's happened. But I am not assuming that Kyle Juszczyk is on another team next year, like I think a lot of people are. For a variety of reasons. He's very hard to replace, being one of them. Like, he's really, just finding they've been trying to find a guy. They don't have a guy. Nobody else has a guy. There aren't guys. Now, if they took a tight end who can block and, they took Tyler Warren, just happens to wear 44, different player. But if they took him at 11 out of Penn State, maybe. But I don't think they're doing that. That as much as I would love that, as much as I would love that, I would love for every offensive lineman in the draft and interior defensive lineman to be free agents. So you don't draft those guys. The offensive linemen and the interior D linemen are free agents. You don't draft them. You just everyone bids for them. And then everybody else is draftable. So that way you'd only draft linebackers, edge rushers, corners, safeties, and then, offensive skill guys. It'd make the draft more fun, I think. All due respect to linemen. I stand with your grind. But I would love to see, some irresponsible drafting. Be responsible drafting. But anyway, I'm sure he doesn't want to take a pay cut. And there are you can identify the teams out there that would be interested in Kyle Juszczyk, who's still clearly playing at a high level. And if McCaffrey, you just need some experience in that backfield. That's the other thing. But I don't know what it would take financially for him. What would he be willing to take? What else would be out there? What are they going to ask him to make? I do think it's good for the clothing business if it's like Niners, like that. It'd be good. L.A. Rams, that'd be good for business. The Jets or the Giants, that'd be good for business. There's some really good franchises out there. We'll see who becomes the Bears head coach. There's some banner franchises out there that sell merch, but the Niners can push merch. Speaking of which, HeyGuy.co. Greg Papa got his 262 hat. He said he considered wearing it for his Kyle Shanahan interview. Decided against it. He said, where do I get more of these hats? I said, HeyGuy.co. The Hey Guy hats and the 262 hats. They're there. And, of course, Prize Picks code GUY when you sign up. A $50 bonus instantly when you make a $5 deposit, make a lineup. So, anyway, I think it's good for the Juice clothing business for him to stay a Niner. And I wonder if that's a consideration when it comes to where he plays next year. Are you taking a little extra money to go play for, I don't know, make a team out like Jacksonville, let's say a Shanahan guy. I don't know. Not as bright lights. And again, I don't think they can replace it. I think he's really hard for them to. There's not an obvious next guy. There's not a lot of Kyle Juszczyks walking around, and I still think he's playing at a high level. So anyway, these are just some. I'm just, spitballing some offseason. Nice touchdown by Ricky Pearsall. I'm just spitballing some offseason talks. All right, Connor's going to get this up. That's that for this. I'm off to the United Lounge for a snack, and then I'm headed back to the Bay Area from Seattle. So appreciate y'all. Thanks for jumping in. Season's over. The content will not stop. There's so much to talk about and figure out. The quest continues. The quest for 6 continues. All right, everybody. God, I hope this audio recorded. Later.